This is so extensive that you will see in today's movie what really transpired with JP Morgan and Swift, the SEC, and the targeting of XRP and Ripple. This is not a conspiracy, this is not madness. These are actual occurrences. The location of the closed meetings, which we were unaware were taking place there, is a fact. Didn't you really need to fit this in there? Was dishonesty, which I will demonstrate to you. Correct as the former CEO of Swift, allow me to now make a call to the Godfather, who claimed that these hotels have the SEC on securities because of this. The SEC's role is to ensure that securities offerings are genuine, meaning they deliver what they promise. The SEC is responsible for overseeing securities and other related matters. I'm going to give you a brief excerpt of his exchanges with Br Garlinghouse. Blah, blah, why is he even talking about that? I want to convey to you the intense level of stress that was present. Now, this gets pretty deep as JP Morgan immediately recognized the threat posed by XRP and Ripple, and I'll show you some hardcore first, the evidence. Let's watch a video featuring JP Morgan. Jamie Dimon states, in 2023, you will be 6 months old. That the private industry outperformed us. Do you still believe that Phoenix Jamie Dimon acknowledged that they weren't very innovative? Pay attention. There are too many people in the financial services industry to disturb. They number in the hundreds. And they still have a lot of money despite having spent a lot of it. When that happens, I dislike it because some of them have done a fantastic job, and we should recognize that. Some have performed so admirably that they don't belong in the fintech category. They are the foundation of a corporation. What types of fintech services are there? Some people, you know, have done some of the things we could have done on our own. And, as you know, I believe that a company should be critical of itself. We could have done it ourselves, and we didn't beat ourselves to it, or they just did it better, so we should admit that. As soon as JP Morgan and Ripple had a falling out, that's when it happened. View this. As you can all see, the Ripple speeding up throughout the world is both the beginning and an eye-opener. Ripple opposed JP Morgan's first unveiling of the JP Morgan coin, arguing that it lacked logic and essentially replicated current operations on a closed infrastructure. Consider the fact that a JP, or JP Morgan currency, is really nothing more than a database. That's the one really intriguing thing about it. Change to blockchain. He was interviewing me, and I told him that there really isn't any intrinsic need to use a blockchain for that, Morgan. Stanley says, it's probably not going to be a JP Morgan coin, you know, and then asks, so, is the city going to use a JP Morgan coin? Will BFA make use of a JP Morgan coin? I don't know what issue everyone knew who was making the money, but the answer is no if you're just moving it within the JP Morgan ledger, and it needs to be dollar to dollar, you know, a one-to-one backing. It's common knowledge that JP Morgan, a prominent bank, retains all the fees generated by these transactions. JP Morgan has systems they've been operating for, you know, years and years and years, and they earn a lot of money off of them, so why would they tamper with them? How do I make this decision, and how will my customers transition from the current system to the new one? Jamie Dimon, you know, like JP Morgan, makes a ton of money in the tech industry. Jamie Dimon has been actively managing systems on your behalf. That kind of adoption is challenging because, well, it's like inertia, so why would they tamper with it when they know for years and years and years and they earn a lot of money off of it? That's a contributing factor, in my opinion. However, I do think, as does I suppose everyone in this room, that we are at a turning point and that people are beginning to realize this. In reality, what can I do here? To discuss Jamie D., it is necessary to first acknowledge his position at the top of the global financial system. Of the banks, JP Morgan is undoubtedly one that benefits greatly from this position, making billions and billions of dollars in profits. In this ecosystem, 99.9% of banks do not profit from cross-border transfers. Come on. Jamie Dimon is a technical term for being extremely wealthy. Even so, how is this okay? However, Here's where things get truly interesting. The present director, Swift Grove Monroe's chairman, had spent 35 years working at JP Morgan. Therefore, JP Morgan, they're just selecting their own men. So okay, you're speculating. But consider this. Before Graham, Mr. Ewar Shaw was the director. Before assuming the chairman position at Swift again, Ewar served as vice president and managing director at JP Morgan for 20 years. They're keeping things close. You may argue that they are electing crooked candidates, but at the end of the day, people, you can't even disagree. In my opinion, the financial system as a whole is essentially a Ponzi scheme, albeit a reliable one. Since humans were created within this, surely no one is left alive? Now that I've witnessed the earliest days of banking, we were all born into this world. That's the reason no one could handle it. It's simply too much to handle at this stage. It's unbelievable to me that they're leaving JP Morgan after 35 years, and they're now at Swift, but view this to understand why I believe JP Morgan pursued Ripple, and they were successful. This is not a random event. How do you feel? They filed a lawsuit against them on December 10, 2020, alleging that JP Morgan used blockchain technology to carry out an intraday repo deal. They claimed that an internal blockchain application enabled the transaction to mature in a matter of hours and settle instantly. I'm confident that Ripple could complete this task in a matter of hours instead of days. They claimed that their internal application completed this task in a matter of hours. They were still unable to succeed, so guess what? Because their transactions take place in hours, they require time. It will take them a few years to cut this down to mere seconds. How do they go about things? Do they leave and order the SEC to leave next? Just 12 days later, on December 22nd, the SEC released a chart featuring Ripple, BR, Garlinghouse, and Larson, which, when you consider how absurd it all is, becomes even more absurd. As you are all aware, Jay Clayton wrote a letter to the president the following day, on December 23rd. Donald J. Trump informed him of his retirement today. On December 23, 2020, I will officially retire. He serves as the chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, with his tenure set to expire in 2021. The establishment of the SEC primarily aimed to verify the authenticity of securities offerings, to value their actions and words, etc. You've all seen movies where someone puts a gun to your head and orders you to do something, promising that you'll quit the next day. Well, guess what happened? You could just sit there and chuckle, acting as though this is all part of a plot. You could argue that it's all made up and that I'm just making this up in my head, but in reality, this is the truth. We won't see it, we will only witness it. XRP's price will repeatedly crash above $100, proving you wrong and dispelling everyone's doubts. This is incorrect. You can't even build these things. From the beginning, the CEO knew that Swift considered Ripple a threat. Physical expression. Now let's revisit this video. Between the Godfather and Brad Garlinghouse, this guy acts as though he doesn't smell at all. I'm excited to see this panel. This will be an extremely fascinating conversation and argument. It's wonderful to have you both here, and we've encouraged a lively, courteous discussion with your excellent lineup. Both on stage, and I think this is our first time appearing together, so yes, we have God. God Liebrand is Swift's CEO, and Brad Gowes is Ripple's CEO. As you've previously stated, you believe that there is a possibility that Ripple will acquire Swift. As I mentioned earlier, I believed there were ways we could collaborate. Speaking of Swift, let's discuss. I'll get that comment started now. Just by claiming that Swift is mine, I believe Godfrey has an extremely difficult task. The banks own Swift. It's not a conventional structure. Instead, it has a powerful chairman, and the city is sort of a major stakeholder in it. Ultimately, though, Ripple is working to ensure that banks and other financial institutions succeed in the long run. To be precise, what is your emotional state? Regarding a collaboration with Ripple, okay, we can work it out here first. That's why we regulate the financial sector, central banks, and lenders. Since there are no last resorts in the cryptocurrency world, the SEC on securities is in place to ensure that securities offers are genuine in terms of what they say, do, and other details. I consider this to be a problem because, in my view, the cryptocurrency realm lacks any such safeguards. That is a problem. None of those things exist in the cryptocurrency realm, and I believe that to be the case. It seems to be a problem. That is a problem. It's a problem. I'm not sure how we can say that any of that is true. In the world of cryptocurrency, I'm not sure how we can claim that nothing like that occurs in the world of XRP Pro Crypto. I'm not sure how we can say that there is none of it in the world of XRP Pro Cryptocurrency, though. Having said that, every Ripple transaction travels through a regulated endpoint before returning to another one. Last words, gentlemen and ladies, I do appreciate it. Tell me, every one of you, what are your thoughts in the comments section? That's it down below. We are coming to an end. We will store this in the storage room and never discuss it again. Once more this is taking place. Quick Morgan JP, they have deep corruption, which is why they continue to hold themselves to such high standards. If this isn't concrete proof, JP Morgan and Swift are putting in a lot of effort. They have designated one of their top executives as Swift's chairman, demonstrating their continued commitment to each other. They are essentially the same when combined. Business appropriate after all, you could simply argue that the mindsets are the same. You are acquiring the same level of leadership. Nothing will change. We'll return with more episodes. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below.